What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NFL Rundown. Tyler and I have been putting in work. We did the sides and totals yesterday, and now it is time for the props. And if you guys have not been living under a rock, you know how tough this is going to be this week, in particular with all the news, games getting moved, people in and out of the lineup. But fortunately, that's why Tyler didn't do the NBA with me today. We just had AP on there, and we were focused on the NBA. Tyler's been navigating the news, right? Like riding a surfboard here, trying to catch a wave, in and out, high tide, low tide, have no idea what is going on from minute to minute, but it looks like a couple of these games are going to be moved, and away we go. So originally, Tyler, we were going to start with the Raiders and the Browns, right? Because that was going to be our Saturday afternoon matinee, but that's been moved. So we'll move it as well. And we'll start with the New England Patriots versus the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are now -2. The total is 45. You talked yesterday on the sides and totals show that you like the Colts there. You made a pretty convincing argument. But what are you looking for in the way of props when it comes to this show? This game.
Looking at the props in this one, of course, you want to go to Jonathan Taylor's numbers under 100 yards here, 93. What were we seeing? Like $110, $114 these last times? So I think that's a little low. The receptions prop on Michael Pittman at 4.5, I also like, because I think if Belichick is able to Taylor, that's who they're going to go to next. And T.Y. Hilton at 2.5 is a bad look here. That was real short for him.
All right, hey, Tyler, let me do a monologue real quick, and why don't you jump in and jump back out because I'm losing you.
Okay.
So jump in, jump back out, and you guys can get a quick monologue here from Fred Astaire. So yesterday, we talked about this Patriots and this Colts game. Should be a very exciting game. Obviously, means a lot and when we're coming to the standings here. And Tyler, if you guys didn't hear, Tyler just mentioned he did like the Jonathan Nelson. Jonathan Nelson's one of our great viewers. Jonathan Taylor props. And he said, anytime it's less than 100 yards, it seems to have been money. He's been going over 100 yards of the last couple games, and we are going to try this again. Testing. Are you back in full strength, Tyler?
Sound better this time?
Yeah, I think it sucks because we're just hanging out before the show and you're fine. And the second we go live, your internet wants to act up on us. So we'll try this again. I basically had just reinforced the idea that you liked the Colts in a game that really has the big implications on the AFC playoff standings. And that you mentioned that anytime Jonathan Taylor's number was set under 100 yards, it was something that you couldn't ignore. So even though the video is breaking up again, let's see if we can hear your voice as you're breaking this down.
Can you hear me fine?
It's kind of breaking up a little again, but we'll work our way through
it. Looking at it, the Colts I just think are going to have with this, not with the defense because the defense is solid, but I think they're the best team they've played in a while. This is where they finally have their let-up spot and they're able to come in and get a win.
So you think the Colts are better than the Bills?
Yes.
Wow. See, I love it when we come with those hot takes, and I don't think a lot of people would agree with you there. But, hey, how much of the Bills are they coasting on the reputation of what they did last year and then the win over the Chiefs earlier in the year when the Chiefs weren't playing well? Now, the Chiefs played great last night, right? So maybe we can re-upgrade that win. But that was when they still had Chris Jones on the outside and they weren't really playing as well as they did now. So this will be an interesting test for the Patriots. You mentioned you did like Jonathan Taylor props. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, the other ones were Michael Pittman's receptions over 5 and T.Y. Hilton over 2.5 receptions.
Okay. Michael Pittman. So you broke up a little bit. What was the number on Pittman?
4.5 receptions and T.Y. Hilton over 2.5 receptions.
All right. So if you guys missed that, it's Michael Pittman over 4.5, T.Y. Hilton over 2.5. So that will be interesting. Nothing on the Patriots side, huh?
No, nothing on the Patriots side.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna have to get out to Pennsylvania. I don't understand how we just sit there and talk crystal clear, and then as soon as we go live, it goes fuzzy. But we're gonna do our best to get you guys the winners, guys, even if it's just me repeating what Tyler is saying here. Panthers, right? They were minus or plus 11 yesterday. They've moved 2 points since we've talked, Tyler, in just 24 hours. Buffalo Bills now minus 13. We talked about the Bills team that you think the Colts are better than, but hey. Even if they're not as good as the Colts, they got to be a lot better than the Panthers. I can't remember yesterday. I'm sorry, I didn't memorize everything we said. Which side were you on in this one yesterday? If you were going to take a stand on the plus 11 or now plus 13?
Yeah, I'd probably just take the Bills here because I can't see the Panthers keeping it close with Cam Newton at quarterback. He's just going to turn over the ball too much. And I think the Bills will do enough to game by at least 13.
All right. And Jonathan Nelson's here. And Jonathan Nelson, if you missed it earlier, I mistake you for Jonathan Taylor. So, I almost bet your rushing yards over this weekend, Jonathan. So make sure you run hard for me here. So you like the Bills there. Not a big fan of Cam. I'm not a big fan of Cam's outfits either. What props are you looking at for this game?
I'm not seeing much positive right now in this game. So I'm maybe a Josh Allen at 31.5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, nothing really in this game.
All right. Nothing really in this game. We got to figure out what we're going to do. I don't even know if we should just try. Guys in the chat, let us know if this is too bad.
I'll just reset my shit.
All right. I'll just monologue for a bit so you can use the same link. All right. So we'll go. I'm just going to go over some sides here real quick, just to be reviewed yesterday, but I didn't spend all the time on the props like Tyler did. The next game we were going to talk about is the Jets plus 9.5 heading to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The Dolphins, of course, the team turned around. They started the season 1-7. They started the season 1-7. They're 6-7 now. They're not even out of the playoffs. So they're definitely a team on the rise. Now the Jets, of course, quarterback Zach Wilson missed a little bit of time. He is back in the lineup. Problems still remain for the Jets, though. The offensive line isn't very good, and the defense really isn't very good as well. It just still seems weird for Miami to be laying this many points in a division game. I think it's tough. And of course, chat, if you guys want to jump in, I'll entertain some of your thoughts on these games as well as we wait for Tyler to get reset. Tyler liked to fade the Jets here. I just think it's so tough here in this situation. Jonathan Nelson, NFL, it's almost like Tyler's internet connection, right? We just don't know what's going on. The NFL this week is just weird. You don't know who's playing or not. It's just so wild. And then it was like, Jonathan, do you remember at the beginning of the season? And it was kind of like, I felt like it was a jab at like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Denver Broncos. The teams that really had problems last year. And they said, we're not going to reschedule. If you can't play, you just forfeit. Well, that's not the case anymore. And I even saw that Casey Hayward, quarterback for the Raiders, was quite upset. And he said, hey, do you think this has anything to do with the fact that the head of the NFL's Players Association is on the Browns, that now we're moving these games and we're no longer doing it? 5 to 10 minutes of monologue. This should be fun. So get ready for the spread show. And you guys know that when I'm flying solo, I will pretty much entertain anything from the chat. So I'm going to go over some of these other games. I thought this Dolphins-Jets game was tough for me to get involved with. They rescheduled 4 games already. It's kind of cool, though. It is kind of cool to have Tuesday Night Football, right? Couple games on Monday night. Overall, it's just pretty cool. What I didn't like was the fact that they kind of adjusting their policy on the fly. And, hey, I'm not a big Formula One guy, but I read about all that controversy, and it kind of had that, right, where it's just like we're just changing the rules on the fly. Hey, thank you, Jonathan Nelson. Let's see how this works out. The Dallas Cowboys are minus 11, and they're heading to New York to take on the Giants. Now, normally 11 seems like a lot in these division games, but this Giants team is not doing well. Kyrie's coming back. All right. Too bad we didn't get that news during the NBA show. Me and AP could have had some fun with that. Football all week. Gotta love it. I kind of agree, especially at this time of year. Right. Well, I guess we do have bowl game season back, right? But the college football season's ended. There have been some bowl games on all day today. I know our guy JJ gave out some picks. College football. JJ had a great college football season, and hoping to finish strong. Right. It's almost like the NBA, right? Everyone remembers your regular season. Like I even felt like I did great in the NBA last year, and then I didn't do very good in the finals. I just had like a bad taste in my mouth for the whole offseason, right? And I felt like it kind of soured people on my ability just because I did bad, in the last 5 games. Same thing, JJ's had a great season, but now it's time to shine because everybody's going to remember this. Back to the Cowboys and the Giants, however, we have a lot of big spreads this week, and normally we don't lay double digits here on the Run Pure team. It's very rare that you'll catch us laying these minus 11s, but I think that you could make a case that this is a game where you should at least consider it because The Giants just really aren't that good. They're missing a ton of players as well. Now the Cowboys are getting back on offense, and they do need to get a big game, a big get-right game. Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper is going to be back in the lineup. Of course, you'll have CeeDee Lamb. Tyron Smith, of course, that's a worry there with the weakened offensive line. But then I'd also counter with the idea that, hey, the Giants' defensive line is not good enough to take advantage of that. Jonathan Nelson said, is Mike Glennon starting for the Giants still? You know what, Jonathan Nelson, we might have a Jake Fromm sighting. That's right. The quarterback from Georgia might be hitting the stage and taking over, because I think Glennon and Daniel Jones are both going to be out this weekend, which is another reason why I like laying the points. Now, remember, I just mentioned JJ doing the college football. I tell the picks and, I'll watch the game, but I don't take notes. I don't really watch. I don't really study. I'd like to know maybe some of your guys' thoughts on Jake Fromm, because I know that he wasn't really projected to do that well in the NFL, and I'd be interested to see him get inserted into a high-profile game. I'm going to skip ahead actually to a game that I actually studied a little more, a couple of the games that I wrote up. I want to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals in the afternoon. They're +3. They're heading to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos -3 at home here. And I think this game is going to come down to, can the Cincinnati Bengals score on this Denver Broncos defense? Because if they do, I just don't see how they win. I think, it's going to be a very good defense against a very good offense. And Tyler brought it up yesterday. Yes, Patrick Surtain could take out one of the receivers, but so I do like the Bengals offense here to get it done, because even if Surtain takes out a T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, it just seems like there's too many weapons. I even like the ability to dump down to Joe Mixon out of the backfield. I think it's going to be very challenging for this Denver Broncos defense. And to be honest, I don't trust the offense. I know that people love Teddy Bridgewater. They have two great running backs. They have a great core, on the wide receivers, right? Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, right? I mean, they can get open, they can get things done. But I just don't know if they can keep pace with this Bengals offense. And it just shows that in the new NFL, a good offense beats a good defense. I see my guy, Matt, jumping in the chat, Mr. New to Town, a.k.a. Twatty Lottie. I'm betting at least 2 units on Justin Fields over rushing. Surprisingly, the Vikings lead the NFL in sacks by a lot. Fields will be running for his life all day. Yeah, and even if they didn't lead the league in sacks, I mean, you want to have arguments about the worst offensive line in football, right? The aforementioned New York Giants and the Chicago Bears, right? They got to be up there. I don't know who's worse. They're not getting holes for the running back, and they're definitely not protecting their quarterback. Justin Fields, boy, what a tough situation there. Doesn't get the support of his coach. A terrible offensive line. I think they have okay receivers, but the line doesn't have time for these plays to develop. And then the defense, right? I mean, we have to go, we're going back almost to this Broncos again and their ability to create defensive schemes. How much of that great defense was because of Vic Fangio? Tyler, take 3. How's the internet working now?
How does it sound now? Am I still choppy, or is it good now?
It's better. It's much better. It's much
good.
better. Okay. So the guys, they put up with my monologue. I want to thank everyone for sticking through with it. But now our NFL expert is back. Tyler, we were on the Panthers and the Bills. You said you didn't have a lot for that one, right?
Yeah, I didn't really have much for that one. Maybe a Josh Allen rushing prop, but my only worry there is he's kind of banged up. Mm-hmm. So pretty much just stay away from there in props. Maybe just a Dawson Knox anytime touchdown, because he always seems to find the end zone.
All right, and I kind of riffed on the Jets and the Dolphins, but I didn't really have a strong take on the side or total. What are your feelings on the props in this game?
I don't see any listed for this game yet, but I know.
Is that because Waddle's out?
That, and plus all the running backs are out for the Dolphins. The Jets have given up tons of yards and touchdowns to the tight ends. Give me all the Gesicki props this week.
All right.
Receptions, receiving yards, touchdown, all of it.
All right, that should be fun. All right, so you like a Mike Gesicki props in that game? Anyone on the Jets side, or are we just staying away from that that offense that just isn't clicking right now?
Just staying away from it as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take the plunge into some unders, maybe the Jets are a team to look at. Now, I talked about the Cowboys, and we had mentioned it yesterday. Maybe of all the double-digit favorites, this was the one we would feel most comfortable laying the points with, going against the Giants. And as much as we're betting on the Cowboys, we're fading the Giants. Basically, I don't like their ability to play the line. I don't think they get a good blocking, and I just don't think they actually create enough pressure on their own front from the defensive line. Now, I know that we've had a bunch of news on the Cowboys here. So from a props perspective, how are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being a big game for like a CD Lamb or a Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
I see Amari Cooper's longest reception set at 20.5 yards. I love the over there because he is a deep ball kind of guy. And CD Lamb's yards set at 67.5, I think is a bit low because he's due for a big game. He hasn't really exploded in a few weeks. He's due for like that 100 yards and a touchdown game we bet on him to have a few weeks ago. So
all right,
kind of like that bet there.
All right, yeah, and what a game to get right against in the Giants. So one of my concerns would be there is that it is in New York. How do you think that if this was in Dallas, right? I would love those props. Are you a little worried about them getting them on the road?
No, I mean I think they'll be fine. I don't think the weather's going to be too terrible in New York this week, so they'll be fine. It's not like they're going to be up there in the snow.
Did you see what the generous organization of the Giants did for their fans attending the games this weekend?
No, I did not.
So if you're a season ticket holder, you get a free medium Pepsi.
Oh.
I mean, isn't that almost like a slap in the face? Like, just don't give me anything.
That's a slap in the face.
I'm trying to think that's happened to me before, where it's just like I'd rather just get nothing. I mean, you're just going to give me that little. So back to that Denver game. I'm glad to hear that Matt Twatty agrees with me. He says we are on an island. Well, hey, let's make it the island lost, and we'll find our own little Kate. And who was the other cute girl on that show? I can't remember her name right now. It's been many years, but for those of you who enjoyed Lost, hey, it wouldn't be too bad to be on an island with that young lady, Kate. The Green Bay Packers are -7 heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Tyler, yesterday, talk about doing this well, right? The line was 5.5. You said, I like the Ravens. This line should be 7. The line is 7 now.
Yep, there it goes.
So, that's why this NFL market's tough it's one of the most efficient markets in the world. Sharpest minds, sharpest bettors, and the bookmakers give it the most time. So now it's back to where it should be. So we don't really have a play on the side at this number. What are you looking at for the props?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the props, I see Adams' yards are set at 91.5. I think he goes over that. They have no real corner to stop him anymore. Humphrey's out for the year. I think they're just going to have their way with this Baltimore defense.
Mm-hmm.
But his longest reception is set at 27.5 yards. How many times do we see him and Rodgers just line up and he throws him the fade down the sideline for about like 35 and he just steps right out of bounds and doesn't get hit?
Mm-hmm.
He does it like every week. Give me that over on that 27.5 longest reception. That's my favorite one in that game.
Tyler likes Devontae Adams. Longest reception over 27 yards. This line hasn't moved since yesterday. The Titans are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Twatty wasn't in the chat for our breakdown of this game yesterday. So, hey, Twatty, we'd love to hear your thoughts here. Tyler, if I remember right, you leaned towards the Titans there. You were angry in the Yinzers. You didn't think this was the spot.
What did we break this game down at yesterday? Wasn't it -2 for the Titans?
No, it was a pick yesterday.
Oh, I was about to say, because I see the Steelers favored by 1 now.
Yeah, I mean, they'll move to the 0-1-1 with not too much money. So, did you have props for this one? I mean, guys that we don't even know. I think you mentioned a running back yesterday for the Titans, and I wasn't even aware of him.
Oh, yeah, Dante Foreman. He's just going to run all through this Pittsburgh defense.
Is he related to George Foreman at all?
I have no idea.
So, actually, I know he's not because, this is a fun story. A quick break. George Foreman named all his sons George. And one of them went to high school with me. The guy got into a fight once. I mean, it was just like his dad. I mean, no one messed with him. It's just unbelievable. Your name George Foreman. You can basically walk through the halls and do whatever you want. So you like Dante Foreman. What are his props?
Yeah, I mean, his rushing yards are 50.5. I like the over there. I think he's just going to run all through this defense. Mm-hmm. Anytime touchdown plus 150. If they get in like a goal line situation, he'll get the first 3 carries before they do something else. And then another prop I was looking at, this Pittsburgh offensive line stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Ben just throws the ball into bad situations nowadays. He's going to throw a pick in this game.
I love these props.
Over at half an interception's even money. Give me that one on Big Ben.
All right. Twatty didn't jump in on the side. It just, even if you're not going to bet it, just tell us who you lean to on the side. I help us for our pick'ems pool, Matt. But he says
he's going to be on the Titans.
Total over 20.5. Man, so what happens when you see Yinzers out and about in the town after you've come on these shows and you've picked against the Steelers?
I mean, you just don't tell them
so they don't watch and they don't spill the beans.
No.
All right. Well, I'm glad. Hopefully, no Yinzers see this, and hopefully you don't get anything in your food when you go out to eat. The Houston Texans. This line hasn't moved either. Still plus 4.5. Jacksonville Jaguars -4.5. I don't think that who's the guy who's taking over Bevel? I don't think he's going to kick the kicker. That's got to be an upgrade for the Jacksonville Jaguars here. What are your thoughts? Twatty jumped back in. He says Titans. All right, not a surprise. So hopefully the Yinzers aren't mad at you either. Matt, what do you think here? So yesterday, I know we disagreed here. I thought this is the great Jacksonville spot. This is the best performance you're going to see from them all year. They're all going to be motivated to prove they weren't the problem. It was Suburban Meyer. And what props are you looking at for this game?
I mean, looking at this one, talk about a drastic change in James Robinson props from a week to week. Yesterday, we bet his yards over 48.5. He rushed for 7 yards. Now they set that number this week, spread at 86.5. That's a little high.
But don't you think that's because James Robinson, for whatever, had earned the ire of Urban Meyer? Trevor Lawrence came out publicly in support of him. So is the new coach. So one thing I want to do is ingratiate myself to my young star quarterback, who's basically the face of the franchise, and get that guy going. I mean, this seems like it's a situational move based on, I don't know. I say it's information based, right? But it seems like it's a logical conclusion to come to. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I expected that last week because he said that quote after his game 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So I thought last week was going to be the game.
But isn't Urban at this point just like F you? I know everything and you don't.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, we've seen that. So even told the kicker he kicked better than him. But looking at it, the other rushing yards I liked in this game was Lawrence. I could see him rolling out. His yards are set at 13.5. Could definitely see him getting over that. And Davis Mills is back under center at quarterback for Houston. The dude just pelts Brandon Cooks with the ball. Give me that over 61.5 on his receiving yards.
All right. In the chat, Jonathan Nelson, Mills passing yards over. What are your thoughts on that one, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Set at 222.5. It's kind of low, but he did put up 300 plus last week.
Yeah. Should be interesting for Davis Mills. And there's an defense that you want to attack with passing yards over, right? Jacksonville Jaguars got to be at the top of our list, right? Of teams that we want to attack when we are going for those passing yards over. The Jaguars, not the best defense. And hey, if it goes on my script and they get a lead, that will help that passing yards over even more. The Arizona Cardinals, minus 13. They're taking on the Detroit Lions. Who do you like in this game? I know DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out. That should open some options here for the other players.
Yeah, I mean, I still like Arizona in this game. They have too many weapons. I believe Chase Edmonds will be back for this game. So you have the extra running back, but you're losing Hopkins, but you still have Rondell Moore, AJ Green, Christian Kirk. So you still have the weapons. Now, trying to pinpoint which one of them is going to do something in this game is going to be kind of hard. But I kind of like AJ Green at plus 160 to score a touchdown in this one. You got Christian Kirk ahead of him at plus 130. I don't see him having the touchdown value as much as AJ Green at this point. He's going to get more targets than Kirk, so give me AJ Green to score a touchdown.
He almost plays like a tight end at this point of his career, right?
Yep.
Because he's just so big, but he doesn't have that game-breaking speed he used to. But great ball control and ability to make the catches in the air contested, kind of like the same way a basketball player would when they're posting up. So AJ Green could get some red zone targets, and of course Rondale Moore should be a big target for those big plays. Are you interested in Rondale Moore? Do you have an over for, you know how we did for Devontae Adams for a longest reception? Do you have that one for Rondale Moore?
I don't see any posted right now, but they'll come out. They've been setting them like right around 12, 13.5.
That's it?
Yeah, I don't hate it, but the only thing is spread is he's only catching like one ball a game. So like unless he gets it on that one catch, like he kind of screws you.
Okay.
And he has, I think, like 40 receptions on the year. 38 of them are like behind the line of scrimmage. So he's catching all the dump offs where he has to do all the work. He's not even catching the ball down the field.
All right. So maybe you talked me out of that one then. That was the one I was looking at, but you do have a good point. The Atlanta Falcons plus 9.5. We talked about this one yesterday, and I remember it because you like the Falcons there taking the points, and I agreed with you, but the 49ers have been playing well lately, and they're a team that you're high on. I know that you like the Falcons plus 9.5, but maybe is there some 49ers that you're going to be attacking from the props?
They said Deebo Samuel's receiving yards at 45.5. I think that's a bit way too low. I think he's definitely going to go over that. Kittle at 68.5 isn't a bad look. And then you look at the receptions, Kittle at 5.5 isn't a bad look also. I don't see a Deebo receptions prop. I also don't see a rushing yards prop set for Debo either. I'd love to get on that if it was like 20.5. You're on mute, Spread.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was talking. Oh, we got the little one over here. Debo reception prop. On the other side, are you looking at any Falcons players?
No, not really on the Falcons side. I mean, maybe a Kyle Pitts, but I really don't want to get involved with the props on their side.
Okay. Sounds good. What about Matt Ryan? What's his number?
I tried to bet his over half an interceptions last week. He threw it, and then it got overturned. So we're going to leave him alone on those ones.
All right. You know, I love those interception props. I think that's just so much fun, especially if your team gets behind, right? You know, so you got the Falcons, you got +9.5. Say it plays out the script, even if we cover. You know, if they're down by 6 and driving, you know, you get that great chance. And then, of course, you know, the Hail Marys at the end of the half and the end of the game can also get you there. Matt's on San Fran. Are you surprised that you and him are in lockstep a lot? You guys are head to head here. Are you surprised?
I think this is a tough game. I just think it's a bit too many points. I think San Fran's going to win the game, but I think 10's way too many points here.
I mean,
I think this game should be like 6.5, maybe even like a 5.5.
Wow. Okay. So that's like one of our biggest edges.
If you would have just glanced at the board this week, like they were like, which one of these numbers is set a little bit wrong? You'd probably point at that one.
All right. So I gave a breakdown of the Bengals and the Broncos while you were resetting your router, so people know where I feel about the side. But what props should we be looking at? I was pretty high on the Bengals' ability to score even against this Broncos. You know, they got a great defense. Let's be honest, great defense. But I think the Bengals can get it done. New NFL, a good offense does beat a good defense. It's not 1989 anymore. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this one, we could go right back to those longest receptions prop and go to our guy, Jamar Chase. His receptions prop was set at 24.5. I think he's definitely going to catch a deep ball for at least 30 yards in this one. So I like that one. Definitely. I don't see a rushing yards posted for Javonte Williams yet. I'd love to get on that. The dude's a bowling ball. He's playing very well right now. Yeah. And even with Melvin Gordon back, he's still getting enough touches. If that number's set in the 60s, he's going over it.
They have a similar running style, don't you think? You know how a lot of times when they have the dual running backs, they have the different styles. Like when Gordon was with Eckler, right? Gordon slammed up the middle, and he was a strong runner, right? Eckler was the scat back, to go wide and, of course, get the receptions out of the backfield. I mean, it's like, you know, so that would be like thunder and lightning. I mean, these guys are like thunder and thunder, right? the way that they both just run so hard. So that's something that the Broncos do have going for them there. So you will like Javonte Williams when they do come out. So yeah, that's it for Sunday now because we got a couple games moved. Let's go ahead and talk about the Saints and the Buccaneers. That will be Sunday Night Football. And actually, so Sean Payton, I heard, got news, but we haven't heard a lot from the other players on this one. What are your thoughts on the Saints and the Buccaneers when it comes to props?
Before that, I like the under in this game.
Okay.
I just think Saints defense is going to hold them. They're getting some of their guys back. Tampa always has problems with them. But I think Tampa does squeak out the win in this one because I'm not sure how the Saints put up many points with their quarterback situation. Now, Gronk's been in the end zone so much for this Tampa Bay team. He's plus 125 to score here. I love that prop. So there's that one. Brady to throw an interception is minus 125. He's thrown a ton this year. I could definitely see him putting one in a bad spot in this game with a team that always has his number. So I don't hate that one either. And also a Mike Evans over 59.5 receiving yards. Because I could see Lattimore getting put on Godwin with how good he's been playing the last few weeks.
But don't Lattimore and Evans like hate each other? Like,
yeah, they do. They do, but sometimes you got to take over the better guy right now. You can't just cover the guy because you hate him and the other guy's going off for 100 yards every week.
That'll be interesting. I would love to be in those meetings with Dennis Allen and Marshawn Lattimore, right? Because my guess is that he's going to want to shadow Evans regardless. You know, they've got that ego. They've got that rivalry. And that'll be interesting to see. So, see, that's something, you know, the game within the game, Tyler, just seeing where Lattimore's lined up, I think, is going to be really interesting. So how do you want to navigate this? Now, I'm assuming the games that got moved, they don't have any props for us right now to talk about, right?
No.
Because if they got moved, there's a ton of uncertainty around them.
Yeah, I don't even see a line for the game. For the Cleveland game?
Yeah, I don't see one either. So I guess what we'll do, extend the show on Monday?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, we'll extend it on Monday. So Monday we'll do the quick review with Titletown. We'll go over Monday Night Football Showdown, and then for the props section, we'll do 2 Monday night. So how's it go? There's 2 Monday night games now, right? And 2 Tuesday night games?
I believe so. I think maybe there's just 1 and 1.
Well, I thought the Raiders got moved to Monday night. We're still going to have the original schedule. Monday night was Vikings and Bears. I think the Raiders and the Browns will be on that night. I thought the Raiders and Browns took Tuesday. Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just the Monday, Tuesday game.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I think we will have to do that. We'll have to do it all Monday then. Hopefully you'll have props by then. And we're doing our best, just like
actually, it's looking like I'm wrong. So it's looking like you're right. The 2 Monday games will be Raiders, Browns, Vikings, Bears, and then Seahawks, Rams, Eagles, Washington on Tuesdays.
Okay, so we'll review those games on our Monday show, which you can catch at 1 p.m. Eastern. But hey, just like the NFL's rescheduling games, we might be rescheduling too with all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world. So that's a great reason to be subscribed to the channel. You will get notified when we go live. While you're subscribing, go ahead and like the video, share it with your friends. Remember to head on over to runpurebets.com. Use the promo code BETS25 off to become a member. Tyler, it's that time. Best bets. You gave out a bunch of props today, but hey, there's a guy in the chat. He's only got 1 unit, man. He's on a bad streak. He's got 1 unit left. He's only got 1 play to make. What's your best bet for the day?
Just bank on Davante Adams getting deep against this Baltimore defense. And that over on his longest reception over 27.5 yards. He's going to catch one for 30 plus in this game.
Yeah, my niece was teasing me about how I don't do anything good for society, but I tell her that, we're over here at Run Pure. We're lifting people out of poverty, helping putting kids through college and keep the food on the table. So, Tyler, thank you for that guy. Thank you on behalf of the guy with only 1 unit yet. Thank you for hopefully lifting him out of poverty when Davante Adams gets that big play. So sorry, guys, this is kind of a truncated show today, but of course, we're trying to navigate the news with everybody else. Not only did we have 3 games taken off the schedule, but a bunch of props for these games just simply aren't listed. But on Sunday morning, they will be. So, of course, if you're a member of Run Pure Bets, you'll get access to Tyler's plays, as they continue to come out. What were a couple of them that you were thinking you were going to target, right? You're going to look at Miami, right? Because we don't even know who the running backs are.
Yeah, the only ones I was looking at that weren't on the board right now were Mike Gesicki's receiving yards, his receptions, and his anytime touchdown.
All right. But I'm sure there's going to be more that are coming up because it just seemed like that we were missing some. So, of course, I'll be checking that spreadsheet Sunday morning, adding your plays to my bet slip. And, of course, while I'm doing that, I'll be checking the core plays and trying to make a Millie Maker lineup. I haven't won it. I don't have the check behind me like Bobby Gomes. But hey, I'm using those cores, and maybe one day I will get there as well. So I wanted to thank everybody for watching, and hey, thank you guys for enduring the solo spread show while Tyler was there and being great sports in the chat. One final thing, because we always do appreciate Matt's comments, his insights, and his handicapping ability. He says San Fran is by far the best in the NFL against tight ends. That takes away Kyle Pitts, and with Mitchell, Kittle, Debo, they are tough to stop, but he respects Tyler, so he's going to stay off that game.
No, he's 100% right with everything he said, but I just think this is a weird matchup for San Fran. They're riding high. I think it's a bit too many points. I think they win the game by about 3 or 4.
And another point, they haven't been that good at home this year. They're better on the road.
It's better
from a gambling perspective and from covering the spreads. There's a couple media guys here that really just you're looking at some of these new stadiums being built, and they're saying, boy, San Francisco really blew it, right? Building that new out of all the new stadiums that have been built, they by far have the least impressive one. They got half the people. I've been out there. Half the people are in the sun. It's really tough to get to. Like when we went, we had to take BART. Like you can't drive in and out. It takes hours. So they kind of really flubbed their opportunity there. And maybe that's why they don't have the same home field advantage. I'll tell you what, like I did enjoy going to the game, but it wasn't something that I felt, I had to go back to right away. There was so much hassle getting in and out of the stadium. And then also just sitting there in the sun the whole time, needing to have sunglasses. Like, I don't know why they put the stadium the direction that they did, but
we'll just build another one in like 10 years.
Yeah, in 10 or 20 years, right? We'll see how it works out. So, Tyler, I wanted to thank you for being on here and leading me through these props. I know everybody watching thanks you as well. For everybody who is watching, we do appreciate you guys supporting us here at Run Pure Bets, and we're excited for a big weekend. We have so much stuff going on. So, of course, become a member, jump in the Discord, or just hit me up or Tyler up on Twitter, and we can discuss gambling, football, sports in general. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and Run